Hello friends, Bishop Tom Dowd here with another video of Catholic teaching in 10 minutes or less. And in this video, I'd like to tackle a question that I sometimes get asked, particularly by kids when I visit elementary schools. I love the visits with kids. You never know what they're going to ask. I've shared in another video their basic question: if God created everything, who created God? You know, the simplicity of the question is just wonderful, the sincerity of it. They often ask follow-up questions. And one of the questions I get as a follow-up is, what is God made out of? Now, of course, the kids are often looking at God as sort of one being among others. And of course, their major experience in life is the objects around us. And so they look at God, they think of God as one of those objects. And so they're curious, what substance is it that God is made out of? You know, one popular theory among the kids is God is made out of air. You know, air is all around us, it's invisible, but it's very real. Not a bad theory, if you ask me. I'm certainly at that age level. Sometimes they will speculate that God is made out of energy. You know, energy is a little less tangible than air, but it's something that they've had an experience of. But in fact, the Christian answer, and there is an answer to this question, what is God made out of? The Christian answer is, God is made out of love. We see this in the first letter of the Apostle John. John wrote a gospel, but he also wrote some letters. And what the Bible calls the first letter of John, in chapter 4, verse 8, the second part of it, that's why there's a B there, is this beautiful phrase, God is love. This is a really profound and important statement. I mean, talk about, just a three-word phrase that has an enormous impact in all of Christian teaching and the Christian understanding of God. It gives us a short answer to the question, what is God made out of? God is made out of love. Not air, not energy. God's very being, very substance, is love. There are some really important implications of this. You know, there are a lot of different approaches to understanding God. Different religions have different approaches. And in many of them, they will say that God is loving, that love is an action that God does. But the implication there is God is loving, but he can be choosy about how he is loving. You know, he can love some and perhaps not love others. That is not the Christian understanding. When you say God is love, it implies it's not just an action. This is God's very eternal nature. It's something that flows from that, or is part of, or is, in fact, that eternal nature. And it implies that God's love is not something he can turn off or dial down. It is something that comes with the whole package of God being who he is. There is no other religion in the world outside of Christianity that has such a strong statement about God's love. This is one of those things that truly is unique to Christianity and is foundational for our understanding of God. Now, we can wonder, if God is love, how can that be if in his nature God is essentially alone? I mean, if there's only one God, then who's the love for? It's a really good question, because love by nature goes out of a person towards someone else. Love has an object to which it is directed. And this gives us our first hint that within God, although there is only one God, there is a multiplicity of something. We'll get into the details of that in future videos. But it's our first hint of a Christian teaching that we call the Trinity. Trinity means three. There are three somethings within God. And God is love implies a Trinitarian dimension to God. Because in order to be love from all eternity, you have to have someone to love for all eternity. And so that implies that from all eternity, there has been a lover, the one who is loved, the beloved, and the love that they share between them. Three realities, three somethings within God. Although God is one, there is also this triple dimension, this dimension of three within God, which flows out of this statement. If all we're saying is God is loving, it doesn't necessarily imply a Trinity. But once you go so far as to say God is love, it's natural to see the Trinity and the idea of a Trinity come from that. But this is something we will explore in future videos. In the meantime, I hope that we can all take comfort in this grandiose, this wonderful, this extraordinary teaching that God, first of all, exists, but beyond that, God is not some impersonal energy field, some impersonal substance, that God, by nature, is love. And that love, by nature, is constantly flowing within God. And if the Christian teaching is true, it also means it's a love that can be shared, that we can participate in. And so from this video, I want to offer you a little homework. Open your hearts to God's love. Let your own love flow back to God. In doing so, you will start to be part of, you'll start to feel that little bit of God's nature which we can experience in this life, and we may just allow it to grow within us. That's what it means to be truly spiritual people, to participate in the internal movement of love that is God. God bless all of you.